In a quiet corner of Atlanta, where every bloom tells a story, we meet Lauren, a visionary floral designer whose journey was seeded in her grandmother's gardens and has since blossomed into something extraordinary. What began as a personal connection to nature grew into a mission to make beauty accessible and meaningful, not just for one moment, but for every day. With hands in the soil and a heart full of intention, Lauren began shaping what would become Full Bloom.
My name is Lauren Hill, and the name of my floral design company is Full Bloom by Lauren. I think what inspired me to get into floral design was really the appreciation of beauty. And I think that started at a very young age. I got to be around both of my grandmothers. One had lots of plants and flowers in her front, and then my other grandmother, big backyard garden. I realized I want everyone to have this, but not knowing what that meant at the time.
For Lauren, flowers were never just decoration. They were a way to create personal, joyful experiences for every client.
We start off with a color palette of some sort. If we don't, I just kind of like see what's in season and then what excites me or us at the time.
Full Bloom grew from an idea into a flourishing business, but not without its share of challenges.
Every request is different. Like every client is going to have a different need, a different color palette, a different timeline. You can't anticipate it, so you have to just know how to figure it out very fast. The creative space, it's ever evolving. The needs are different, the spaces are different that you're in. And like we are doing very physical labor when we're setting up these events. We're at big loading docks. We're, on freight elevators. We've got sharp objects that we're working with. So there are a lot of risks that we're taking. And so having that assurance and that coverage and that policy really helps you feel confident in knowing that there is some safety net for me if something does happen. I was needing to source insurance to work at a certain venue, and they're like, we want to add you to our preferred vendor list, but we need your insurance. I think I did a simple Google search, and then I was already familiar, so it was like no question. Like I can't remember what else came up. I just saw Hiscox and I was like, oh, I know them. I may see things traveling in the airport, like a lot of like business branding or advertising. And I loved how easy it was to get coverage pretty fast.
As the business grew, so did the team, with Hannah bringing her own artistry and dedication to the Full Bloom story.
I'm Hannah Moritz. I work for Full Bloom by Lauren.
Hannah is an amazing designer. She has the best personality. She understands me a lot, and she understands flowers, and she loves them, and we both love them, and we'll do whatever it takes for the flowers. And like just being able to meet at that point has been amazing.
On my Explore page on Instagram, this arrangement showed up, and it was one of the most beautiful arrangements I've seen. So I found Lauren's page, and I knew I just had to meet her. So she was having a workshop, and I signed up for it. And so I got to meet her in person finally and connect with her. And I told her that I love everything she does, and I would love to help her. And she had something coming up pretty soon after the workshop. Got to join her on that, and it's just been to the hip ever since.
A lot of what I see people feeling is excitement, wonder. They're intrigued by the florals. They're drawn into the color that we've used and things that they may not have seen before. And so that then sparks conversation, whether it's with us or like guests at an event. I love that our flowers do that, and that's always the unintentional goal.
I really want flowers to be accessible to everyone. And so my approach to flowers are very playful, very casual. I want it to be very inviting. I want people to see the flowers and feel like this is fun, like this is going to be a good time.
Full Bloom's impact goes beyond individual clients, touching the Atlanta community through partnerships, events, and a commitment to joy and connection.
Immediately, I started out wanting to do retail floral arrangements. So those are like deliveries. And I did not enjoy that as much. It's very challenging for a small florist to do that. And then I moved into weddings. So those are easier. They're kind of like, you have leeway, you have time. But weddings are also a different type of pressure. And then during the pandemic is really when the business shifted a lot into corporate and brand events. My first big brand that reached out to me was Adidas. I did their Honoring Black Excellence campaign in Atlanta. And then after that, it just, Netflix, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and they just find me on Google or like on the internet.
Today, Full Bloom continues to grow, rooted in their values and inspired by every client they serve.
I think that I ensure that every client's experience is special and that they feel the care that we're putting into it just in the way that I talk to them. We're not just gonna say, okay, your color palettes are oranges and blues, but like, how do we blend those oranges and blues? And so like all of those steps are going into making those clients feel it. And when they see the flowers, they can see, I want you to feel like you're my only child in a way. Like I'm gonna give you as much attention as I can. We're gonna go above and beyond always in making sure that we give the best, the freshest, the coolest flowers like that you can find.
Through handcrafted care, collaboration, and resilience, Lauren and her team at Full Bloom have built more than a floral design studio. They've cultivated a place where creativity meets purpose, and where every arrangement carries the weight of care, story, and intention. Backed by the confidence that comes from knowing their business is protected, they're free to keep dreaming, designing, and growing. With partners like Hiscox behind them, Full Bloom is not only flourishing, it's built to last.